So, dear friends, we are on the eve of Pentecost, one of the most important feasts of the Church Universal, the Church Local, and every person also experiences this infusion of the Holy Spirit. The Feast of Pentecost is one of the important feasts for us. In fact, it is considered as the birthday of the Church because the Church which was lying low, the Church perhaps which did not know how to go about, how to preach, but with Pentecost or the coming of the apostles, the coming of the Holy Spirit on the apostles, things were different. We see how in the Acts of the Apostles, just on the day of the Pentecost itself, the disciples were so much filled with the Spirit that they went about preaching to such an extent that the people considered them mad. Holy Spirit makes you mad with His fervor and zeal, as it were. So the first reading of Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verse 1 to 11 gives us the account of the Pentecost itself. The second reading of Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 3 to 13, tells us one of the important facts of our life, that no one can call Jesus as Lord and Master, unless the Holy Spirit gives us that power, that inner infusion, as it were, to say this. The second reading also gives us a brief sort of overview of the different talents, different gifts, different charisms, but one Lord, one Spirit, which means the unity of the Church. And in the Gospel, chapter 20, verse 19 to 23, Jesus once again appears to the disciples and He tells them, peace be with you. And not only that, He gives them the power to forgive sins. The forgiveness of sins is also very much part of the Holy Spirit. So I think basically 4 points we can remember of the Pentecost, the Feast of Pentecost. As you pray to the Holy Spirit, as you celebrate this feast, there are so many who enjoy being in the Spirit, as it were, and proclaiming the Spirit, the power of the Spirit. The 4 things that I can tell you is, the first one is, no one can call Jesus as Lord but with the help of the Spirit. The Holy Spirit gives us an insight into the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So therefore, the first thing that we have to realize is that our devotion, our dedication, our piety comes or originates from the Holy Spirit. Secondly, the Holy Spirit is a sign and symbol of unity, as we have heard in the first reading, the second reading, and also in the Gospel, that the Holy Spirit, there are so many spirits among us, rather there are so many talents, charism among us. There must be someone who can sing, there must be someone who can praise, there's someone who can prophesy, there's someone who can preach, but these spirits may be individually inspiring us separately, but then together they are one unity. St. Paul even gives that example of, just as in a body, we have different organs or different faculties. Perhaps my hand, my fingers, my leg, my chest, my ears, my eyes, these are all different activities. And each one of them is important. And none of them can say that I can do with my eye alone, I don't need my ear. Or I can do with my nose alone, I don't need my mouth. Everything is connected. So also St. Paul takes this and says that the Church is a body. And this unity in the Church is brought about by the Holy Spirit. Thirdly, the peace aspect. The Holy Spirit gives us peace. I've seen some people who pray to the Holy Spirit. They were troubled, they were agitated, some were sort of desperate. But the gift of the Holy Spirit is a certain peace comes over them. Then they are not only quiet physically, but also mentally and emotionally. So the peace we see in the Gospel, Jesus knows that the disciples are so disturbed, they are so frightened. And so twice He tells them, peace be with you, peace be with you. And fourthly, the relation between Holy Spirit and also forgiveness of sins. Jesus tells the disciple, receive the Holy Spirit. Whose sins you shall forgive, they are forgiven. So therefore the Holy Spirit is also a chamber of God's forgiveness, God's mercy, God's compassion. So my dear friends, I leave you at this, a small inspiration and small reflection of mine on the feast of Pentecost.